Imagine a place where the cold bites so deeply that it becomes a part of who you are, where survival isn't just a struggle, but a constant companion. This is Butte, Montana, in 1891, a town filled with rough, desperate men who've come from Ireland to carve out a living in the copper mines. This is the world where the heart in winter begins, and from the very first pages, Kevin Barry pulls us into a place that is as unforgiving as it is unforgettable. We meet Tom Rourke, an Irish immigrant who's lost his way. Tom is a man who's seen too much, who's been beaten down by life, and now spends his days as an assistant to a local photographer and his nights drowning in alcohol and opium. He's a drifter, not really living, just existing, numbing himself to the harsh realities of the world around him. But there's something about Tom that catches your attention, a spark, a hint of the poet buried deep beneath the layers of despair. Everything changes for Tom when Polly Gillespie walks into his life. Polly is a Milorder bride, newly married to Anthony Harrington, a man who is so devoutly religious that he's more in love with his rituals than with his new wife. From the moment Polly steps into the story, it's clear that she's trapped in a marriage that offers her nothing but coldness and control. Polly is strong, she's smart, but she's also desperate for a way out. And when she meets Tom, she sees a glimpse of the freedom she craves. The connection between Tom and Polly is immediate and intense. It's a forbidden love, the kind that sparks quickly and burns with a fierce intensity. There's no slow build here. Their attraction is instant, almost fated. But it's also dangerous. Polly is married, after all, and Tom is a man with little to lose. Together, they decide to run, stealing a horse and some money, and setting off into the bitter Montana winter in search of a new life. But the world they're escaping is not one that will let them go easily. Harrington, driven by a twisted sense of righteousness and wounded pride, sets a posse on their trail, determined to bring Polly back and punish Tom. As they flee across the frozen wilderness, the story takes on a relentless pace. Barry's depiction of the Montana landscape is both beautiful and brutal. The cold, the isolation, the constant threat of danger, it all feels so real, so vivid. You can almost feel the sting of the icy wind, hear the crunch of snow underfoot, and sense the ever-present shadow of death that looms over Tom and Polly as they make their desperate bid for freedom. But this isn't just a story of a man and a woman on the run. It's a story of survival, of two damaged souls finding solace in each other, even as the world conspires to tear them apart. Tom's transformation from a broken man to someone who's willing to fight for love, and Polly's journey from a trapped, desperate wife to a woman who dares to dream of something more, is what gives this novel its heart. Now, let's talk about the writing. Kevin Barry's prose is something else entirely. It's lyrical, almost poetic, but it's also rough and raw, just like the world he's describing. Barry doesn't shy away from the harshness of the environment or the brutality of the characters' lives. There are moments in this book where the writing feels like a punch to the gut, sharp, painful, but also exhilarating in its intensity. That said, Barry's style isn't for everyone. The lack of traditional dialogue punctuation, the stream of consciousness passages, the way the narrative sometimes veers into the surreal, it can be challenging, even disorienting at times. But once you get into the rhythm of his prose, it becomes almost hypnotic, drawing you deeper and deeper into the story. The middle part of the book, where Tom and Polly are on the run, is where the pace slows down a bit. There's a lot of introspection here, a lot of focus on the characters' inner lives, which can feel heavy. But it's also where Barry really delves into what makes these characters tick, their fears, their hopes, their unspoken dreams. It's a risk, slowing down the action in a story like this, but it's a risk that, for the most part, pays off, and then there's the ending. Without giving too much away, Let's just say it's the kind of ending that sticks with you. It's not neat, it's not tidy, but it feels right for the story Barry has told. There's a sense of inevitability to it, a feeling that no matter how hard Tom and Polly try to escape their past, the world has a way of catching up with them. It's a bittersweet conclusion, one that leaves you with more questions than answers, but is also deeply satisfying in its own way. The Heart in Winter is not a light read. It's challenging, it's dark, and at times, it's downright brutal. But it's also beautiful, haunting, and deeply moving. If you're someone who enjoys complex characters, richly detailed settings, and prose that's as much about the language as it is about the story, then this is a book you want to pick up. If you're interested in experiencing this powerful story for yourself, I've included a link in the description below where you can grab your copy of The Heart in Winter. Trust me, this is a journey you won't want to miss.